Hey guys, Kyouko here, and there's been a video that has been heavily requested from me over the last 2 days since I did my Danganronpa 3 review. That video that's been requested by a few people both on Twitter and Tumblr and in the comment section has been, can you do a video explaining how we got from Danganronpa 1 to Danganronpa 3 Mirai-hen? And my answer is, kind of? I mean, the truth is, there's so many side stories when it comes to the Danganronpa timeline. It's going to be hard to do, so this video is going to take you from the mindset of Danganronpa 1. If you've only watched the first season of the anime, you haven't played any of the games, read the spin-off novels, read the new Killer manga, which is a spin-off of Danganronpa. This is going to explain how Makoto Naegi went from that to being several years older, part of the Future Foundation, which wasn't explained in the first episode, and being arrested for treason. So, we've got a lot to jump into. I'm going to jump into this. I need to drop a few warnings before we get into this. First off, Zetsubo-hen, which is starting tomorrow. Zetsubo-hen is a prequel to Danganronpa 2. So, part of what I'm going to be explaining in this video, the timeline between Danganronpa 1 and Danganronpa 3, will be spoilers for Danganronpa 2. And since Zetsubo-hen is a prequel to Danganronpa 2, technically by watching this video and becoming caught up on Mirai-hen, you're going to get spoilers for Zetsubo-hen. So I'm really sorry about that, but if you want to understand what the Future Foundation is and what's going on in number 3, I am going to have to spoil parts of Zetsubo-hen that would otherwise be completely new to you. So you can consider that before watching this video. If you want to go into Zetsubo-hen and have a completely new experience, completely new characters, which is actually even set before Danganronpa 1, you can just not watch this video, be very confused with Mirai-hen, or maybe watch this video after watching Zetsubo-hen and then go into Mirai-hen. It's a confusing way that they've done it. But for those of us that know the timeline of Danganronpa, this was a big kindness to us. We loved the characters from Danganronpa 2. They've given us a prequel to all of that so that we can see the characters that we loved. And they've also given us a sequel to the original Danganronpa and the Danganronpa spin-offs, so that we're going to have a conclusion to Hope's Peak Academy's story. So Mirai-hen, this will be the way that it connects you to the original anime, but it will spoil you for Zetsubo-hen. Consider that before watching this video. Okay, so if you are staying with me from this video, I'm assuming you watched the first anime, you haven't played any games, so starting from the general idea of Makoto Naegi. You remember that he completed the killing game, he defeated Junko Enoshima. Enoshima decided that she'd lost. She executed herself, Monokuma was shut down, and Makoto Naegi, Kyouko Kirigiri, Toko Fukawa, Byakuya Togami, and the dude with the crystal ball, whose name I can't remember, that's so embarrassing, all walked out of there alive. But once they walked out of there alive, they discovered that the world that they saw was not what they had expected. The world had basically been destroyed. You see, while they were locked up in this academy, it turned out that 2 years had passed. They had had those memories of even going to the school erased from them. They thought they were freshmen, when really they were about 17 years old. They'd already been at the academy for a year, and the world has gone to shit while they're gone. You see, it turned out Junko Enoshima hadn't started with the killing game. The killing game was actually kind of in the middle of her plan. Long before that, she'd had Hope's Peak Academy students kill each other before. They called that the tragedy of Hope's Peak. And from that, the reserve department decided to get really pissed off and become political protesters. They went out and screamed their heads off and started a political movement kind of like in V for Vendetta. It basically became World War III, but just in Japan. Everyone was killing the shit out of each other. Everyone was leading to despair. Everything went bad. So Hope's Peak Academy, fearing getting involved with any of it, locked that class that was involved in the first killing game up and just basically let the world burn. While the world was burning on the outside and Junko was creating the killing game on the inside to spread more despair, she was actually broadcasting that killing game from Danganronpa 1 to the whole of Japan to make sure that there was even more despair coming out, because all these ultimates who were supposed to be the future hope of the world were suddenly killing each other. That's when the Future Foundation was created. The Future Foundation was brought together mostly of people that had passed Hope's Peak Academy, had already graduated. They came together and decided they were going to fight what was known as ultimate despair. And this is when I'm getting into heavily spoilers from Danganronpa 2, so be warned one final time. Ultimate Despair started first from the reserve course students who went protesting and started killing people and killing each other and going insane. But Junko had also worked on her senpais. The students 1 year above her, the ultimate students the year above her, which are the students in Danganronpa 2 and will also be the main characters in Danganronpa Zetsubo-hen. She took most of their class and made them go insane. She inflicted them with despair, so that when they left the school, they became what they called Ultimate Despair. They spread their teachings across the world. They did ridiculously horrible shit. Some of them killed their parents, some of them killed each other, some of them gunned down hundreds of people on the streets. It was crazy shit. And when Junko finally actually died, they mourned so much that they did horrible, horribly gruesome shit, like cutting off bits of her body and attaching them to their body. One person took Junko's eye for himself, and one particularly brave student decided he was going to have sex with Junko's dead body just in case he could make a baby with it. That was actually said in the Danganronpa 2 game. That was fucked up. Oh, what the fuck? They fucked a dead body? I didn't know you could put this kind of fucked up shit into a game. So, you know, I had that knowledge. I had to share that knowledge with you. You guys can now be as traumatized as me. Feel the despair yet? But anyway, the Future Foundation, who we've seen in the first episode of Mirai-hen, they rescued all of the survivors from Danganronpa 1. They let all of them, since they were Hope's Peak graduates, and they were really hope-filled at this point, because they'd just beaten Junko. They'd destroyed Junko. So they let them join the Future Foundation as well. All of them except Toko Fukawa, because obviously she's got that whole genocidist show, Ultimate Ego, who is a psycho murderer. So they decided she is being protected by them, but she's not exactly a member. So yeah, all of the kids from Danganronpa 1 that survived joined the Future Foundation. But then Makoto Naegi had something even crazier happen to him. And now I'm going to go heavily into spoilers for Danganronpa 2, the game again. So, you know, again, you should really play the game. It's a really good game. But yeah, I will spoil this for you so that you know why Makoto Naegi is being arrested for treason. Eventually, the Future Foundation actually managed to capture what they thought were just normal despair-filled students and survivors from Hope's Peak Academy. They collected 15 of them and were trying to protect them. But then Makoto Naegi actually found out that these were the Ultimate Despair, the original class, 77th class, who were 1 year above him, that Junko had inflicted with true Ultimate Despair. They were too far gone. These were the worst of the bad guys who created the problem in the first place. So Makoto was actually ordered by the Future Foundation to kill all these kids. He couldn't do that. He decided that this was Junko Enoshima's despair. He wasn't going to lose to that again. He put them in what was called the Neo World program. It was on Jabberwock Island. It's basically a big virtual world that was designed to help people recover from trauma. It would erase your memory to a certain point, and then you could live out your days on the island, and it would replace those memories as if you'd been on that island, so the original old fucked up memories were gone from your head forever. Problem was, when Makoto Naegi put them in that program, one of the students that was being put into that program infected it with a virus which actually contained an AI version of Junko Enoshima, crazily enough. So the killing game started all over again with these kids who thought that they were first years at Hope's Peak Academy. They didn't have any memories of knowing each other. It's the exact same thing as Danganronpa 1. They thought it was going to be their first day at Hope's Peak Academy, and then suddenly they were thrust into this killing game. So this is the innocent versions of those despair kids, again, having to kill each other, and this was being broadcast to the Future Foundation as well, just to fuck with them again. And by the end of it, there were only 5 of them left alive. The 5 of them that were left alive were given the option to destroy Junko Enoshima, but then they wouldn't remember their memories of being on the island, so they wouldn't remember being friends with each other. They'd remember all the fucked up shit and go back to being Ultimate Despair again. But Makoto Naegi managed to convince Hajime Hinata and these other survivors of Danganronpa 2 that a miracle might happen and they might remember some of their memories from the island. So they went for it. They got out of the program, they deleted Junko Enoshima. Junko lost for the second time to Makoto Naegi. And when they woke up on the island, they did have slight memories from being in the island, supposedly. We don't actually ever get told if they remember everything, and that is where Mirai-hen starts. Because Makoto Naegi leaves those 5 remnants of despair on the island that actually survived and goes back to the Future Foundation. Hopefully that will have given you an idea of what's going on between the Danganronpa 1 anime and the Danganronpa 3 anime. I have left out so much. Because I'm trying not to spoil Zetsubo-hen for you, and I'm also trying not to majorly spoil anything that doesn't need to be spoiled. Because a lot of what's going to happen in Zetsubo-hen is what happens in Danganronpa 2. So I've tried to avoid that as much as possible. There's also a whole bunch of side stories. There's a light novel that explains the whole Izuru Kamakura killing the student council thing. And there's also a spin-off game called Ultra Despair Girls, which focuses on Makoto Naegi's little sister and what goes on during the tragedy while Makoto Naegi's in the middle of the killing game. And there's also a manga that's coming out right now called Killer Killer, which is about the Future Foundation having a murderer hiding inside it. So all of that is going on, and Danganronpa timeline is kind of crazy, but hopefully you do understand now why Makoto Naegi is being arrested for treason and why the world is so completely fucked up. If you do want me to do a more in-depth thing and go into the full timeline from beginning to end, I can do that. Let me know in the comment section. That will be a much longer video and a much more crazier time for me, but I can do that. And if you just want to watch what happened in the Danganronpa 2 from beginning to end, I did a video game Let's Play on this channel, which you can watch if you want. Shameless self-advertisement over. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to the Despair side. The Future side had a cool first episode, and thank you guys for actually caring about my opinion enough to ask me to do this kind of video. I hope it helped you guys. If it did, give this video a like and maybe share it with anyone else who's confused about Danganronpa 3 and has only seen Danganronpa 1. And leave me a comment, let me know what you thought of the video. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this one. I mean, I just did a review of the Future Side anime first episode, and tomorrow I'm going to do a review on the Zetsubo Side first episode, so I hope you guys come around and watch that. Subscribe if you want to see reviews and my theories on what's going on in the Zetsubo and Future Side. And yeah, like I said, if you like this video, just wreck that like button, and I will see you guys next time.